Hello and welcome back to the Sports Babbles World Cup Fact File groups. I've got Group B. Again, the lads trying to stitch me over here, I think, but Group B is quite actually an interesting group. We have Iran, Morocco, Portugal and Spain. So we have the African Cup of Nations winner, the European champions, Spain and one of the favourites, and a little bit of an unknown in Iran, but they're playing in their second consecutive World Cup, which they've never done before and is absolutely massive for them. By the way, I did realise I called them Marine earlier. Apologies for that there, my head's all chocker. Iran are the first team I'm going to look at, and they're an interesting proposition. They're sort of a team that, and the brilliant thing about the World Cup is where you get teams you don't really know everything about them or many of their players, and they come into it as a bit of an unknown quantity. They have some really good players. They have Al-Azira Jakabash, I think that's probably right. If I'm wrong, I'm very sorry. Who was top goal scorer this season in the Eredivisie. And they have Karim Ansafarad, who was the second top goal scorer in Greece for Olympiacos. So they have players that can score goals and can potentially hurt the three teams in the group. They're managed by Carlos Queiroz, who everybody knows was assistant manager at Manchester United and went on to manage Real Madrid and Portugal. He did say a couple of weeks ago that he wasn't too happy with the fact that his squad hasn't had many games for their teams across Europe and various leagues, and he is worried that they're going to lack some match fitness. He also said he wanted 40 full days of training to get his squad ready, and I'm not sure he got that, to be honest. So that's going to be interesting to see how they go on, certainly if they progress in the tournament. One of their key players to look out for is Sardar Azmoun, who he's sort of seen as the Iranian Messi. He plays at Rubin Kazan, and in the January transfer window he was quite heavily linked with Liverpool, and to the point where he came out himself. He met Jurgen Klopp and got a photo with him and all in February, but before that he came out and said that he wouldn't be prepared to move to a club like Liverpool just yet, a bigger team, because he didn't want to go in as a squad player. He wanted to move when he was assured of being one of the main players in the team. So he has a lot of confidence and he'll be one to watch out for. I think with this group being the other three teams is maybe too strong for Iran, and I think they'll come bottom in this group. They play Morocco off first and they'll be wanting to get off to a good start. That'll probably be their key game for them, but they'll be an interesting team to watch and keep an eye out for them. The second team in this group that I'm going to look at is Morocco. They're managed by Hervé Renard, who is 3 times African Cup of Nations winner, including recently with Morocco. So they come into this tournament probably seen as Africa's best chance of success. They have a really good team. Their key player is seen, he's Hakim Ziyech from Ajax. He's their playmaker. And interestingly enough, Renard actually left him out of the African Cup of Nations because it wasn't guaranteed to give him a starting spot, and he was afraid of him maybe upsetting the team morale and maybe sulking a bit around the squad, so he dropped him. They still went on to win it, and then he went and patched things up, and now he's got him firing and ready to go for the World Cup. Karim Al-Hamadi, who used to play for Aston Villa, he was there for 2 years, so you might know him. He recently won Player of the Year in Holland when he guided Feyenoord to the title. So again, they have some players that coming in with some form. Mehdi Benatia at Juventus, that everybody knows about, is a very, very top-class centre-half. And they've Younes Belhanda, who was a pivotal part in Montpellier's title run in 2012 and was sort of seen at the time as one of the stars to come through French football. I think Morocco are going to really cause Portugal a bit of issues in this group, and I'm actually going to fancy Morocco to come second. That isn't biased towards Ronaldo because he played at Manchester United. Not a Liverpool fan, none of that at all. I just think Morocco coming into it, they were quite in form winning the African Cup of Nations, and I think they're going to be a surprise package of this, potentially this World Cup, certainly this group. So I fancy them to come second. The third team in this group is Portugal, the European champions, and on paper a team that you would think could really give anyone in this World Cup a run for their money. But there's still that niggling little feeling that they're possibly just not going to be ready for, not that they're not going to be ready for a World Cup, but they sort of leave you a bit like, can they really do it on the big stage? They do have one of the GOATs in Cristiano Ronaldo, and as I said, they are recently European champions, but they weren't exactly lighting up the tournament that time, and you weren't rushing to go and watch them. You might have rushed to go and see Ronaldo's up, but you certainly weren't going to rush the rest of his teammates. No disrespect to any of them. They have an informed Bernardo Silva, who's sort of seen as maybe the next big hope for Portugal, and they could base their team, their midfield, certainly around him. With Andre Silva and Ronaldo, they have a strike force that scored 24 goals in the qualifying, so they have no excuse to not go out and attack. But you just sort of think with that coach Fernando Santos and the way they get on at Euro 2016, that they might revert back to sort of a defensive mindset, especially if they lose the first game, and their first game's against Spain, one of the true favourites for the World Cup. I think, as I said previous, Portugal are going to get caught cold, and I don't think they're going to progress through the group. I just think there's something telling me about Morocco. I could be way off here. We'll pip them for it. So the last team in the group is Spain. Potentially the team that are going to win this World Cup. I know I said on our live video that I think France, but I wasn't really thinking that straight. I went and looked at the Spanish team, and I think Spain are going to win this World Cup. They have a manager that's managed them 19 games now, hasn't lost a single one. Some of them are friendlies, like the Argentina game, but they spanked the Argentina 6-1. And in that game, key to that performance was Isco. The Real Madrid playmaker has had a fantastic season when he's been given a chance by Zidane, and certainly when he's played for Spain. He absolutely annihilated Italy, more or less on his own, and scored a special free kick against them in qualifying in Madrid. And this World Cup seems to be the time where he's going to really shine on the world stage, not just for Real Madrid. With him, he has a couple of new players that have come into the squad. They've kept the majority of their spine from the last 2 tournaments, and there's still some World Cup winners, but they do have some absolutely super talented new youth players coming through. Asensio, Rodrigo, Moreno. They've even older players like Iago Aspas, Lucas Vazquez, who's been around at Real Madrid, and you would think he's a young player, but he's actually 27 years old. And they've Saul Niguez plus Thiago Alcantara to come in the midfield. This Spain squad is stacked, and I fancy them to go on and win this World Cup. They'll win this group with 9 points.